Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is DeAngelo Mack. I'm a resident of District 7 and the Director of Equity Justice for Public Health Advocates. Public Health Advocates is a local nonprofit organization that engages in community-driven local and state policy change. We focus on improving the health outcomes of the most marginalized communities through advocacy and research. PHA's First Response Transformation Campaign uses both advocacy and research to focus on improving public safety by championing systematic changes and makes emergency response systems more responsive to community needs and less costly. We are before you today to talk about the proposed budget for Sac PD and share research that can be used by the Council and the City Department to determine investments in first response systems that, one, align with the community's needs, two, addresses challenges in recent years of unfilled first response positions and the reliance in overtime. Our research shows that after examining 911 call data throughout several cities within the state and conducting a public opinion poll of registered voters locally and statewide, that the greater community wants better options for emergency response and better use and transparency of their tax dollars. An example of this collective desire is the Sacramento City Council and the community passing the first of its kind public safety resolution, which offers us an alternative to this historical approach. We have researched partnerships with local research institutions that can conduct unbiased and rigorous analyses with de-identified data. We are asking you to partner with us further.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Maron Demise, Kristina Gilardi. So Maron, Kristina, and then Ryan McClinton.
Hello, I'm Maron Demise. I'm a resident of District 4. I'm an administrative specialist with Public Health Advocates on the First Response Transformation Campaign. Building on DeAngelo's comments, I'm here to highlight the importance of further research to better understand the needs for the first response services in Sacramento. In particular, 911 data. Analyzing 911 data is important because it reveals how well the needs of Sacramento's residents align with current responses. Current analyses from over 350,000 documented 911 calls in 2019 showed that the top 3 call descriptions accounted for about 40% of the calls. These were call descriptions for disturbance, suspicious incident, and traffic stop. Analyses also examined in-process as well as after-the-fact type of calls. 89% of the calls are labeled as after the fact. So this could be a person comes home to find out that their home has been broken into, or a report needs to be taken at an incident that's already happened. This is just a peek into some of the insights that research can provide. We have research partnerships with local research institutions that can conduct unbiased and rigorous analyses with de-identified data. This is why I'm asking you to partner with us in analyzing 911 data call to further understand the needs of the community and department. And we can do this free of charge. Thank you.
Next speaker is Kristina Gilardi, then Ryan McClinton.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Kristina Gilardi, and I'm a resident of District 4, the Director of Research and Learning at Public Health Advocates, and provide research support to the First Response Transformation Campaign. I'm going to build on DeAngelo and Maron's comments. So I'm here to talk to you about how we can use 911 call data to better inform your budget decisions and by understanding the first response landscape here. That includes community needs, types of calls law enforcement are needed at, and how best to align those needs with services in transparent ways. It's important because for years there have been concerns of unfilled positions and overtime by the police department, and there are community concerns about which calls law enforcement respond to and how they show up. We think these analyses can help to begin a conversation about how solutions driven by call data might be able to address all of these concerns, including your concerns, Mayor Steinberg, about making sure that police, fire, and EMS are responding to calls that align with their training. We began our analyses to better understand the number and percentage of calls for potential harm to individuals through physical or interpersonal harm. So this is usually directed at someone in immediate risk of harm. What we found from publicly available data is that 11% of calls that police responded to in 2019 had clear potential threat. 47% had no potential for harm, and 20 were very vaguely labeled as unspecified disturbance or suspicion. Of the 911 calls, 94% of the calls had no potential for harm in progress. Other than calls currently underway with potential for harm directed at a person, we need to ask if law enforcement are the right responders. Our ask for you today is to partner with us to conduct the analyses of your 911 data for free. We have grant funding to do this, and we have research partners who are willing to do this. They are independent, unbiased, and can take
Thank you for your
de-identified data to
comments.
do
Your
this
time
work.
is complete. Our next speaker is Ryan McClinton, and then O.
Good evening, Council. My name is Ryan McClinton. I'm a program manager at Public Health Advocates over our First Response Transformation Campaign. We're going to continue to build on the comments from DeAngelo, Marion, and Kristina. I'm going to talk to you about the limitations we have acknowledged in the data that you've just heard about as well as the remaining questions that we have left to answer together. When you look at the limitations, we have to acknowledge that the publicly available data is limited in its content. There's a lot of data fields that we actually need to be able to draw a complete conclusion of what's happened on some of the calls, what's happening within the time of those calls, and who's responding. Categorizations are based on what we can ascertain from the call descriptions that are available in that data set itself. And there are a lot of unclear outcomes of what happened on the calls, as I just mentioned. One note is that some of the data that you've heard is from 2019, because that's what we've had originally did the analysis on, but we can do it updated to 22, 23, and so on and so forth. There's still remaining questions. One of the questions that remain that we think we can help to answer is to what extent do Sacramento's investments in current first response services align with the community's needs? It's important because given the budget's conversation that we're currently having and the investments that we're making in public safety, not just law enforcement, but fire, EMS, and the like, they should reflect the diversity in needs and response of our community. That's not just a badge and a gun. It also means mental health providers, social workers, those who respond to quality of life calls on a daily basis. An example of that would be what we're doing again with the Department of Community Response. That department can be staffed with so many mental health and quality of life employees who are uniquely skilled and trained in those areas to respond to so many of the calls that we heard law enforcement having to spend valuable resources responding to tonight, right? We want our law enforcement being able to respond to those most violent and dangerous calls that we've heard the stats about tonight. In conclusion, we're asking that you partner with some of our research partners who, again, are unbiased and can provide de-identified data for our 911 analysis, not only for law enforcement, but for fire and EMS alike. And we hope that we can do this
Thank you for
collaboratively
your
to address these
comments.
needs.
Our next
Thank you.
speaker is O, then Samuel.